Howdy, folks. I'm Scoryth, the Crimson Renegade, and welcome to the finale of Borderlands. This is the vault. This is the place you've been looking for. This is what we spent the last 50 plus episodes doing, is trying to find this exact spot. And now we're going to raid the vault and stop Commandant Steele. Here we go.
You have failed to listen to Commandant Steele. I've warned you time and again, yet you persist on ignoring my orders. The contents of the vault are rightfully the property of the Atlas Corporation. But you? You belong to me.
I like how this cutscene actually included your character in the cutscene. That was kind of cool.
Yes, the key works! Sergeant, get your team ready to go inside.
The Destroyer. Well,
Don't
she's
give
dead.
up. This creature may be immortal in its own realm, but in this reality, it cannot survive without a host, and that makes it vulnerable. When it becomes flesh and blood, it can be hurt, even killed. You just need to know where to aim.
You gonna tell me where that is? No? Okay. Well, this is it. This is boss time against the Destroyer Parasite. What the hell is this Parasite? Oh, anyway, it's boss time against the Destroyer. It's not against Commandant Steele, believe it or not. It's actually against, some kind of rack-looking thing. It's against that thing right there. Our target is the eye. Well, the entire thing can be shot, of course, but the eyeball is going to be its weakness. You can see I'm scoring the critical hits up there. This is going to be a long fight because this guy's got a lot of health. As far as strategies for taking this guy on, I really don't think there's anything special you've got to worry about. You want to probably keep your distance the best you can. Really, the only thing you got to worry about are these Destroyer Parasite things, which are, it's just like the rack hive that we fought some time back. As long as you keep moving, he won't be able to target you. But also, you see those tentacles that he's got. You can hit those purple spots with those tentacles, and it'll stop him from shooting those needles at you. See, there's one down. There we go, two down. I shouldn't have to worry about the needles for a while. Focus on his eye now. If you want to shoot the what they call the Destroyer, what are those little things called? Get those things up there, the Destroyer Parasites, you can. Not that big a deal. Right now there's 4 of those tentacles, so I'm going to bet it's probably going to be like a Hydra thing, where the more of those tentacles you destroy, the more it actually keeps respawning. So to avoid that, we're just going to focus on the Destroyer himself. Just make sure you stay mobile. Obviously, stay away from those needles if you see them. If you see one near you, because obviously they explode doing damage, and you don't get. I was just about to say you don't want to get knocked off the edge. So you want to stay. You want to be, staying back here is back there where I was wise, but you want to be careful because the knockback will do just like that and kill you. Fortunately, it doesn't. Fortunately, it doesn't restore his health, because that would have really sucked. God damn it. Hell, I guess I'll just stay down here. He just can't knock me back. So it's not really that. In all honesty, I think it's actually one of the more depressing fights of the game. Again, it's not even. I keep mentioning the Roid Rage boss back in Sledge's safe house. This boss is not even as hard as that, in my opinion. As you can see, he hasn't even broken my shields yet. Yeah, he's killed me twice. That's because he knocked me off an edge. But he hasn't killed me straight up. And hasn't even broken my shields yet. This is different. Oh, that's a beam. That hurts. That hurts. Okay, that hurts. I don't remember that. Throw a couple grenades, see what happens. Let's just stay in cover then, and just shoot the destroyer parasites then. Avoid the laser coming from his eye there. Still doing good. So you see, this is really a rather anticlimactic fight if you really think about it. I mean, again, I still think the hardest fight of the game is actually the Void Rage boss in Sledge's safe house. Oh, fuck, out of ammo. Fortunately, the upside is if you run out of ammo, completely out of ammo, you can leave the area. All you gotta do is come to... Oh, shit, I should not be here. Let the laser hit me way too much. But you can actually leave the... Fuck. I might as well shoot while I'm down here. I can't take any damage here. What I was trying to say is the worst case scenario, just you can actually turn around and go back out that area down there and go get some ammo. There's no shops or anything here to pick up ammo from. Or even fast travel if you wanted to. You can actually fast travel out of here and come right back to the vault. I'm completely out of ammo. I got some shotgun ammo, but that's going to be doing me a whole lot of good. I got some pistol ammo again. Oh, we can get some ammo off the destroyer parasites if you wanted. Uh-oh. Eye laser. Let's just avoid that. I got some shotgun shells. Again, doesn't do me any good. God damn it. You find the eye laser a lot. Another downside, I can't use my punch. I can't get close enough to use my punch. There's a grenade. A little bit more. Just a little bit more. A little bit more. Got him. Made in New Haven. Destroyed the destroyer.
You opened the vault! I'm sorry I couldn't warn you about what was in it. But for you to be there to stop
She's
it,
loud.
it couldn't have unfolded any other way. You did well, and your actions haven't gone unrewarded. The key won't open the vault for another 200 years, but I'm sure Tennis will pay you quite the fortune for it. Now go. I'll be watching.
So all this time she was the Guardian Angel was a Hyperion satellite?
Ooh, but check me out. Oh, come on, get down.
Interplanetary ninja assassin. And that's the end of Borderlands. No, bullshit. You really that's it. It's a very sudden and kind of anticlimactic ending. It really is. But I can point out some things about it though that I know thanks to DLC and future games. In case you're confused by all that happened there, the vault was not what everybody thought. Everybody on Pandora thought it was. The vault was not a vault full of weapons and money and fortune and fame and all that other stuff. It's not what it was. It was literally a prison for that creature called the Destroyer. It was like the Guardian Angel described. It was in a separate realm that, in its realm, was completely invulnerable. But when it was brought into this realm, this reality, through the vault basically being a portal, it was vulnerable to being killed, being injured, and that's what we did. I think we killed it. I think we actually did kill it, and just escape back to its realm. I think we actually did kill it. But that was what was in the vault. The vault was just a it was just a prison. Now, one might think the destroyer would be some. I would think that the what would have made the story better is if the destroyer had been some kind of maybe sort of like Mass Effect, sort of had a somebody in this realm that was, how can I say, like a avatar for the destroyer that was trying to manipulate the Vault Hunters and Tannis and everybody into doing the things that they did in order to release the destroyer. Instead, it just turned out to be the Vault was just somehow the word of the Vault being super legendary and have awesome weapons in it, or awesome stuff in it, got around, just somehow. and then we end up going to the Vault and finding it's just a prison. I think it would have been better if it had been some kind, if the destroyer had actually been planning to invade this realm and used somebody in this realm, somehow contact them, whatever, to spread the word about the Vault being full of awesome weapons and stuff and awesome rewards and glory and fame. And this person being like sort of like an avatar for the destroyer, trying to spread all that information. Now, in behind the scenes, in deep lore of the game, that may have been what happened. There may be somebody that we never met in this game that was actually what started the whole legend of the Vault being real and all that stuff, and told Tannis about it, or put out little information here and there and spread rumors here and there. There may be somebody that actually did do that. We just never encountered it because they never showed it in the game. But maybe it's somewhere in the deep lore of Borderlands. I don't know. But otherwise, just from playing the game straightforward by itself, that's all that really was. It was just a trip to the Vault and find out, lies, Vault was actually a prison. Okay, what was the point? I mean, was the destroyer just a happenstance thing? The Vault was really there. People thought that maybe there was really a bunch of awesome loot inside, and by opening it, the destroyer just happened to be there. The destroyer just happened to be what came out. One might think maybe the Guardian Angel had something to do with that, but thanks to what I know in future games, and I won't spoil why I know, but I just know, according to future games, that's not the case. I'll just say that and leave it as is to avoid spoilers. Now, what we saw there at the end with a little bit of future tells you there about the satellite that had Hyperion on it and the angel logo and all that stuff on that there. That was kind of that was a little bit of a hint about future games. Just kind of give you a little bit of a hint there. But after that, when you saw the dancing Claptrap suddenly get knocked out, then he suddenly had his eye turn red, and it said Claptrap, Interplanetary Ninja Assassin. That is really kind of essentially, in my opinion, like a teaser for the DLC. One of the DLCs that we deal with is actually the Claptraps turning evil, essentially. And you have, I won't go into details about the whole story of that DLC. I'm just telling you basically the Claptraps go evil, and we have to deal with them, essentially. Now, as far as speaking of those DLCs, I mentioned earlier in the series that earlier in the Borderlands 1 series that I was not going to do the DLCs, and that is still true. Now that I have finished Borderlands 1, the main story, I'm going to stop here, and I'm not going to do anything else with Borderlands 1, and I'm going to move on to the next game, which will be Borderlands 2. Eventually, I will come back and do all the DLCs for this game, but the reason I don't want to do the DLCs right now is because it's first of all, it's kind of a completion. It's kind of just a complete thing. I'm like, all right, I've beaten the story of Borderlands 1. Time to take a break from it and go to something else. Which is, I'm still going to a Borderlands game, but still finishing this, and I'm while I'm going to Borderlands 2 is while I'm still in the Borderlands universe, it's still essentially taking a break from Borderlands 1. Another reason is each of the DLCs, as I mentioned before, they are very, very long. Each of the DLCs themselves could easily be almost its own game. They are so long. Now, it's not 40 hours long. It's not going to be 50 episodes in each DLC, no. But they can be pretty damn long in themselves, each DLC. And in Borderlands 1, there's 4 DLC. One of them is basically the entire DLC is just a horde mode kind of thing. So if I do that one at all, I'll probably be doing it last. One DLC, I'll give you. I can tell you some basic information about these DLCs without spoiling anything. The one DLC that's the horde mode is a woman named Moxie. I don't think we actually ever spoke to her or talked about her, but Moxie is a pretty important character in the Borderlands universe. She runs an arena that is basically just a horde mode. It's really all it is, it's just a horde mode. I think there are some side missions that you can do in that DLC, I think. Can't remember for sure. But it's basically just a horde mode. It's the entire DLC. Another one is kind of like a Halloween-themed, not kind of, it really is a Halloween-themed DLC. It's called the Island of Dr. Ned. And it's really just, it's all literally the... it's all Halloween stuff. You got zombies, and like a zombie breakout happens in a certain part of area, a certain part of Pandora, and your objective is pretty much stop that zombie infestation kind of thing. There's a lot more. I'm being very vague. There's a lot more to the story, but I'm just kind of letting you know what the DLCs are. Then there's the Claptrap DLC, the Ninja DLC, Ninja Claptrap DLC I just told you about. And then the other one is what's called General Knox's, the Fort of General Knox, I think, or something like that. And what that is, it's a series of missions where you actually you're actually be fighting a lot of Crimson Lance and fighting essentially their leader, General Knox. The Crimson leader during the main story was Commandant Steele, yes. But I guess you could say her boss essentially would have been this General Knox guy. And the great thing about this DLC is after you defeat this DLC, you can actually go into the armory. Actually, I think it's called General Knox's Armory or something like that. But anyway, you go into the armory of the Crimson Lance, and there are, without exaggeration, probably at least hundreds of weapons caches to open. So you can go in there and just get tons and tons and tons of weapons as long as you've got the inventory to hold it all. But there are tons and tons of weapons caches to open and get stuff out of. Downside to that is it's going to be just like any other. There's not anything special about these weapons caches. They're not anything that you can open and get. It's not going to be all just orange level gear or just purple level gear. It's going to be just like any other loot cache. You're going to come up with a lot of crap weapons and crap stuff essentially. But just the fact that there's I really can't, without exaggeration, without sounding like I'm going overboard, there are lots of weapons caches to open in this entire building. Now, how we get to all that stuff, again, is all storyline related, so I'll keep that out. But that's what the 4 DLCs are in a very, very short sense. And as far as me doing those, I will do them in the future, probably... I'm gonna say long after, I guess, but I will be doing them after I complete all of the Borderlands games overall. So with Borderlands 1, I've completed the main story. I'm going to stop here after the credits roll, and I'm going to start Borderlands 2. And Borderlands 2 will be uploading right after this episode finishes. And I'm going to do all of Borderlands 2. And then after I do Borderlands 2, I'm going to do Borderlands pre-sequel. And the reason I'm doing pre-sequel, even though pre-sequel storyline-wise falls between 1 and 2, chronologically, I'd normally like to do it in chronological order. I'm going to be making an exception for Borderlands this time, because the way pre-sequel is told, there are events that happen in Borderlands 2 that are mentioned in pre-sequel. So if I play pre-sequel first, some of those events in Borderlands 2 are going to get spoiled. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and push pre-sequel back to playing after Borderlands 2. So after I complete Borderlands 2, I'm going to then go to Borderlands pre-sequel, and then once I finish pre-sequel, I'm going to play Tales from the Borderlands. And then after Tales of the Borderlands, if Borderlands 3 is out by then, I'll be doing Borderlands 3. Once I finish Borderlands 3, actually, if I have the time, if I have the opportunity to, and I have the time to, after I finish Tales of the Borderlands, if Borderlands 3 is not out yet, I'm going to go back to Borderlands 2, and I'm going to play the new DLC that came out right around the time that Borderlands 3 did, or I say about the time. In 2019, a new DLC was released for Borderlands 2. It's called the name is I'm drawing a blank on the name, but it has something to do with Lilith, and Lilith is Lilith. We all know who Lilith is. We saw her in this game. Well, she becomes an important part of this DLC in Borderlands 2. And from what I understand, this DLC also kind of gives some heads up and some information about Borderlands 3. So what I'm going to do is after I finish Tales of the Borderlands, if Borderlands 3 is not out by the time I get to that game, by the time I finish Tales from the Borderlands, I will go back to Borderlands 2 and do that Lilith DLC so we can kind of get some story leading up to Borderlands 3. If by the time I finish Tales of the Borderlands, Borderlands 3 is already out or about to come out, then I'll just wait on that Lilith DLC until after I finish Borderlands 3. But as far as the DLCs for this game, for Borderlands 1 and beyond, the rules are still going to apply with the exception of the Lilith DLC. I'm going to play just the main storyline. Once I finish the main story of Borderlands 2, I'm going to go straight into pre-sequel. Once I finish pre-sequel, I'm going to go straight into Tales from the Borderlands. I won't be doing any of the DLCs for any of the Borderlands games until after I finish Borderlands 3, with the exception of with the exception of Lilith's DLC. Why am I having so much trouble saying her name? Lilith's DLC. If Borderlands 3 is not out by the time I finish Tales from the Borderlands, I will play. I'll show off Lilith's DLC in Borderlands 2. So that's my plan for the rest of the Borderlands series. And again, the main reason for that is all of the DLCs, at least the ones that I know of in Borderlands 1 and 2, are very, very long and would make this series extremely long per game. By the time I finish the DLC for Borderlands 1, Borderlands 3 will likely be out. That's why I want to go ahead and just hold off on the DLCs. So the DLC stories really aren't that critical to the main line, and they each have their own stories for the most part. They do involve some characters from the original stories, the vanilla games, but the stories themselves are not super critical. It's not like it's going to be we're missing a major part of a story by not doing some DLC right now. That's not going to be the case. So that's my plans for the rest of the Borderlands series. As far as go ahead and doing my review of Borderlands 1, I'm going to do like two different reviews. I'm going to review the game itself, and then I'm going to compare it to future games, which I know I usually don't or shouldn't be doing, and usually don't do, but there's kind of a reason for it. Borderlands 1 is, in my opinion, it broke the mold as far as first-person shooters because it is. I think it may be the first, if not one of the first, RPG first-person shooters. As far as I'm aware, any shooter before this was just a straightforward, you have a gun, you shoot enemies until they die. Here, you actually had to be careful what enemies you're about to encounter before you go shooting them. If you're a level 5 character and you go shoot a level 10 enemy, first of all, you're not going to do hardly any damage to it, regardless of how powerful your gun is. Second of all, when that enemy decides to fight back, it's going to probably one-shot you. Or, it's going to do a lot of damage really, really quick if it doesn't one-shot you. And that's a totally new concept for first-person shooters, at least, again, as far as I'm aware, when this came out. it took the best of RPGs in, like, Final Fantasy, the Tales of series, any JRPG you can think of. If you're a level 5 character and you go take your swords and magic up against a level 20 enemy, you're likely going to get killed really quickly. That's the same thing that's the same thing that happens here in Borderlands, and I believe this was the first game to ever do that. And I believe it kind of paved the way for games like Destiny and, to a point, Anthem, The Division, games of that sort. While those are MMO online versions, Borderlands was, I believe, the gateway, the catalyst, the vault, if you will, that led into the RPG FPS genre. We got a bunch of weapons caches here we can open. Let's go and take a look at them real quick. I can't really do anything with them because my inventory's full. I'll just, I guess I can go ahead and leave and come back. We do have one mission left to do here, as you can tell by the then we got to bring the vault key to Tannis. The vault key won't work again for another 200 years, so it is now effectively useless. Tannis has volunteered to become the caretaker of the key and may even pay well for it. She has returned to the Rust Commons dig site, by the way. She's back to where we first met her, so we're gonna go ahead and take that back to her. I think what I know I can come back here directly back to the vault. So what I'm going to do real fast, I'm going to fast travel to, I guess maybe the middle of nowhere bounty board, just because that's just the first thing that came to mind. I'll go to the middle of nowhere. I'll empty my inventory that I have now, and then I'll fast travel back here. Open these weapon caches that are here, which I think will still be here when I get back. Let's just go ahead and grab the key too while I'm here. This thing can certainly cause its share of trouble. Oh, there we go. Pick up what's in these treasure weapons chests, and then I'll return the key to Tannis, and that'll wrap up Borderlands. So I'll be right back.